In a previous lesson, we went into great detail exploring the various default options that are set up for you when you launch Publisher. And when you go to create a publication, whether it's a business card, a newsletter, envelopes, you name it, each of those will also have their own defaults. In other words, they'll have page setup options. If you're working with a business card, one of the most popular page setup options is a 3.5-inch card by 2 inches. So you see that quite often, but there are other choices. So you get the default. How do you change those defaults when we're talking about page setup? Well, the first thing we need to do is actually open up a publication. So you can go over to your recent publications if you're looking at the Getting Started screen that I'm looking at, and open up businesscard2a.pub. It's a publisher file from the previous lesson. If you don't see that, no problem. You can come up here to the File menu, click File, and then Open. And then you'll want to navigate to the Lesson 2 folder of your exercise files, and you'll find Business Card 2A there. And you can open that up. So Business Card 2A, if I look over here on the task pane, I see the template that's being used. It's called Marker. And if I wanted to change the template, I could. But I want to talk to you about the page setup or page size. And down below, you can see it is the business card page size that we're using. And there's that 3.5 by 2 inches I was talking about a moment ago. Now, to change that, we can go to the Change Page Size button right here, or we could go to our File menu and click Page Setup. But just before we do that, I want you to notice here that the zoom level up here on my standard toolbar is set to 267%. In other words, this is not the actual size of my document, the way it's going to look when it prints. I'm zoomed in here. So obviously that's greater than 3.5 inches by 2 inches on my screen, but if you look at the ruler, it is fitting into that 3.5 by 2 inch size. So how do we change our page setup again? Let's go to File and click Page Setup right here, and the Page Setup dialog box will launch. So what you're going to see first of all is the blank page sizes section of this screen, and you can see that I've got standard, advertisements, binders, booklets, business cards right here, and all of these sections appear down below. And you'll notice there is a scroll bar here, so I can scroll down through the various sections. Many of them are collapsed, but you'll notice that the business cards is expanded to show me the various choices. But there's my labels, and there's a whole bunch of options down here as I scroll down that I can expand. There's design paper, there's email, here's envelopes, and so on. So there's quite a huge list to choose from. We're going to scroll back up here to our business cards, and you can see that I've got a number of them showing here. That the most popular business card options show up here, but then I've got all of these down below as well. And I can expand these. For example, Avery A4, A5. If I click the plus sign, it's going to show me some other options down below. So I'm just going to scroll up here and stick to these for now. So there's the one I'm using, 3.5 by 2 inches. If I want to change it to this one over here, the 3.346 by 2.165, I just simply click on it. I look over here, there's my width and my height, and it's even got the margin guides in there. So if I click OK, I'll now have my new business card. Now the new layout does barely fit, and you can see there's some things that are kind of running off the edge of the card here because I've changed my size. So when you do start playing around with your page size or your page setup, you may have some adjusting to do with items on that page. Let's go to our Change Page Size button this time to launch the exact same screen, the Page Setup dialog box, and we'll choose something different here. So because we went down in size and chose this business card here, not everything fit on the card. What happens if we go up a little bit? I'm going to go to this one here and click OK. Now you can see everything does fit on this card. In fact, there's a little bit of room around the outside of the objects on my page or my business card. So if I wanted to, I could adjust these as well. We're going to talk about all of this a little bit later on. Now there's a little bit more to page setup or page size that I want to talk to you about. So we'll go back to this button, click Page, Change Page Size, and we'll leave the actual business card that we selected here alone. So we'll just keep that. But I want to talk to you about these options up here. So there's the width and the height. So if I wanted something that's custom, now odds are if you're going to be printing these, you're going to buy a sheet of them, and you're going to follow the guidelines on the box of paper that you buy, for example, with the exact measurements. You'll make sure that they match up. But you may want to adjust the margins. So the margin guides, you can see for this particular template, are 0 all the way around. Now, depending on the printer you're using, you know that most printers don't print right to the edge of the paper. So let's click the Advanced button right here. And when we do that, you can see we got Custom Page Size dialog box showing up. You can see the name that we're using right now is called Business Card. Here's a preview over here. And it is a full sheet, and you can see that there's actually 10 business cards on a sheet. There's the page size of each of those business cards, but the sheet size is set to 8.268, and you can see it's 11.693. So if you don't actually have this sheet of labels or business cards, you may have to come in here and make some changes or select another template. So you can see I can come in here and change the width and the height right from here. Now I could have done that up here as well, but I can come in here to do it, as well as my margin guides. But then I can also come in here and decide whether it's going to be multiple pages per sheet, or you can see I've got some other options like 1 page per sheet, folded cards, etc. So I'm going to leave it at multiple pages per sheet. The target sheet size, if I click this drop down, you can see I can go to my 8.5 by 11. So that's my target. And you can see what's going to happen down here. I'm going to lose the bottoms of a couple of them. But that might be what I've purchased, and that's probably what needs to go in there. Your best bet, though, is not to come in here and make too many changes, but to hit Cancel here and find the exact one that you need from this list. Give it a click, and when you click OK, make sure that everything's fitting on your page. And now if you go back into page size, change page size here and click Advanced, and you'll look at your preview. There's your 8.5 by 11. So this particular template is exactly what I need, because the sheets I've purchased are on 8.5 by 11 sheets. The page size or the business card size is 3.5 by 2 columns of 5. Very good. So we'll click OK there. And we'll click OK again to return to our business card, knowing that we have full control over the page setup options. Next, we're going to look at the print options that tie in closely to your page setup.